The hospital lights flickered above as Lee Finnegan stood over Luna's motionless body, her pulse barely registering on the monitor, breath shallow, clinging to life after the devastating crash. It had started with a choice, one she thought was righteous, one rooted in protecting her family, her son, her name. But when Luna arrived, broken and bleeding, Lee made a decision that could not be undone. She sedated Luna and told the world she was gone. No autopsy. No ceremony. Just a quiet removal from public record, a whisper that she'd died in transit to another facility. In truth, Luna was alive, but barely. And Lee had no plan beyond silence. At first, Lee justified it. Luna was a ticking time bomb. Her relationship with Finn had created tension between Lee and her son. Her connection to the Forresters had brought chaos. Her rising influence in the fashion world had been built too fast, too loud, and threatened to consume everyone around her. When Luna's crash occurred, Lee saw an opportunity. She would protect Finn from more pain, from more scandal, and in doing so, remove the unstable element that had disrupted everything. But that illusion of control cracked quickly. Lee realized she was in over her head. Luna's vitals were declining. Her lungs filled with fluid. The trauma to her spine was worsening, and despite Lee's skills, she could no longer keep the young woman alive on her own. She needed help. And there was only one person with enough underground medical experience, the kind that didn't involve paperwork or questions. Someone who had vanished from the radar, but was always one breath away from the darkness. Sheila Carter. Contacting Sheila was a nuclear option. They had fought. They had tried to kill each other. Sheila had faked her own death more than once, shot people in cold blood, terrorized the Forresters, and left scars Lee would never forget. But Lee also remembered something else. Sheila had once saved Finn's life when no one else could. And right now, Lee was facing that same impossible equation, either let Luna die or trust a monster. Late at night, in an abandoned clinic off the California coast, Lee stood waiting under a flickering red exit sign. When the door creaked open, Sheila stepped in wearing black scrubs, eyes cold, hair pulled back. "I thought you'd never call," she said. Lee didn't waste time. "She's alive. But not for long. I need your help." Sheila raised a brow. "Why should I save her? She's a Forrester puppet. Another Logan offshoot with an attitude. Because if she dies under my care, I go to prison. And if that happens, they'll come for Finn. You'll never see him again." It was a gamble. But it worked. Sheila stared at her for a long beat, then nodded once. "Let's work." And so it began, the most dangerous alliance Los Angeles had ever seen. Two women, both outcasts in different ways, now bound by a secret patient who had no idea she was being kept alive by the hands of two people who once tried to end each other's lives. In the hidden clinic, Luna lay sedated, her body stabilized only through a mix of experimental medication and old-school trauma care. Lee handled the diagnostics. Sheila handled the fieldwork, collecting rare drugs, bribing nurses, stealing blood units when needed. They barely spoke unless it was about Luna. But slowly, the layers between them began to peel back. One night, after a near-cardiac arrest in Luna, Sheila stood over the girl with shaking hands. Lee noticed. "You've done this before. Why are you nervous now?" Sheila didn't answer at first. Then, quietly, "Because I know what it's like to want a second chance and have everyone say you don't deserve it." She turned to Lee. "You think I'm a sociopath. Maybe I am. But this girl, Luna, she never had a choice. You sedated her, hid her, lied to the people who love her. So if she dies, that's not just on me. That's on you." Lee didn't flinch. "I know. That's why we don't let her die." Days turned into weeks. Outside the clinic, the world mourned Luna. Hope Logan spiraled, unable to reconcile the silence. RJ vanished from social media. Steffi accused Lee of covering something up, but had no proof. Finn sensed something was wrong with his mother, but couldn't identify it. Inside the clinic, Luna stirred. Her brain activity had begun to increase. Sheila noticed it first. Subtle shifts, fingers twitching, REM sleep patterns, irregular heartbeats. She's fighting, Sheila said. She wants back in. Lee wasn't sure how to feel. A part of her was terrified. If Luna woke up, the truth would unravel. Everything she'd done, the sedation, the fake death report, the alliance with Sheila, would be exposed. Her career would end. Her relationship with Finn? Destroyed. Her reputation? Ruined. Sheila, meanwhile, began talking to Luna when Lee wasn't around. Whispering in her ear, telling her stories, half confessions. "They think you're dead," she said once, her voice low and strange. "But you're not. Not yet. And when you wake up, you'll remember me." The moment finally came on a cold morning. Luna opened her eyes. At first, she didn't speak, just blinked slowly, confused. She tried to sit up, pain shot through her. Machines beeped. Lee rushed in. Sheila stood frozen. Luna's voice cracked like glass. "Where am I?" Lee's hands trembled. "You're safe. But you can't leave. Not yet." Luna looked around. "This isn't a hospital." Sheila stepped forward. "It's where you come back to life." Luna's recovery was slow, but her memory was fast. She recalled the crash, the pain, the fire. She remembered the voices in the dark, the feeling of being trapped inside her body while people moved around her. "I heard you," she whispered to Lee one day. "You thought I couldn't." "But I did." Lee closed her eyes. "I did what I thought I had to do. You let me die." "No," Lee said. "I kept you alive. But only after you buried me." The confrontation broke what fragile trust had formed. Luna demanded to leave. Sheila blocked the door. "If you go now, you'll be dead in a week. You're not stable. You have internal injuries that haven't healed. And more importantly, you don't know what's waiting for you out there." Luna's eyes narrowed. "You think I'm safer with you?" Sheila said nothing. Eventually, the dam burst. Luna recorded a video from her bed. A confession. A warning. A plea. She sent it to Hope. The message contained her location, a recounting of Lee's deception, and a name no one expected. "Sheila helped me survive." When the video went public, chaos exploded. Forrester Creations went into lockdown. Finn confronted Lee in front of the entire family. Brooke collapsed upon seeing Luna alive. Hope wept. RJ came out of hiding. Liam turned violent at the mention of Sheila's name. Police raided the clinic, but both Lee and Sheila were gone. The facility was burned, files destroyed, everything wiped. Luna was evacuated to a private hospital under full guard. And somewhere far outside Los Angeles, Sheila and Lee sat in silence in a rented truck, driving north toward Canada. "We did save her," Sheila muttered. Lee stared out the window. "We saved her, but we lost everything." "Not everything," Sheila smirked. "We still have each other." Lee didn't smile back. Because what they had wasn't friendship. It was survival. It was blood, betrayal, and a bond forged in guilt. And it was far from over. Somewhere in a hospital bed, Luna stared at the ceiling. She was alive. But she would never be the same. And neither would the people who claimed to love her. Because in this world, truth doesn't heal. It haunts. Luna's eyelids fluttered as the soft humming of machines broke through the darkness. Her mind, still fogged from the sedatives, struggled to separate dream from memory. The lights above were dim, casting sterile shadows on tiled ceilings. Her muscles ached. Her chest burned. Her arms felt like lead. But she was alive. And she remembered just enough to know something was wrong. The crash. The impact. Her screams swallowed by glass and metal. And then, nothing. For days? Weeks? Her time in darkness was a blur. But the moment her fingers twitched and her eyes opened, something inside her shifted. A quiet warning. She was not in a hospital. Not a real one. The equipment looked outdated. The air was damp. There were no nurses bustling, no overhead announcements, no morning rounds. Only whispers through closed doors. Voices she began to recognize. One clipped, measured, cold Lee Finnegan. The other, deeper, laced with something unhinged but oddly tender, Sheila Carter. Luna stayed still, playing possum. Her body weak, mind racing. They thought she was unconscious. She listened to every word, every plan, every justification. Lee, she wasn't ready. I had no choice. If I reported her survival now, they'd ask why I lied. I'd lose my license, my son, everything. Sheila, you kept her hidden. I kept her alive. If she wakes up too soon, it's over for both of us. Luna's heart pounded. They'd lied. To everyone. Let the world believe she was dead. Hope, RJ, Brooke, Finn, her family. All grieving. And these women, the doctor and the sociopath, were holding her in secret, justifying it with twisted logic. It wasn't about saving her. It was about saving themselves. When the machines began to beat more frequently and Luna's brain activity showed signs of awareness, they upped her sedation. But it was too late. Her body had begun to resist. She drifted in and out, awake more often than they realized. She memorized their patterns, listened to their arguments, and waited. On the sixth night, Luna made her move. She faked a seizure. Her body convulsed violently, sensors flatlined. Lee and Sheila stormed in. Lee panicked and reached for the crash cart while Sheila rushed to stabilize her fore. In the chaos, Luna snapped her restraints. Lee had loosened them the previous day to prevent muscle atrophy and swung a monitor into Sheila's face. Blood burst from Sheila's temple. Lee screamed. Luna pushed off the gurney, stumbled hard, then ran barefoot, dizzy, but unstoppable. The hallway beyond the room was dark, unfinished. Cement floors. Storage crates. A back alley clinic hidden beneath an old outpatient surgical center. No security. No staff. Just a labyrinth of medical neglect. Luna burst through an exit door and found herself in a narrow alley. Cold air hit her lungs like knives. She collapsed to her knees, then pushed forward. She had no phone. No ID. No shoes. But she had one thing more powerful than any of that: fury. Inside, Sheila recovered quickly. She wiped the blood from her face, grabbed a syringe of ketamine, and snarled, "We can't let her talk." Lee hesitated. "If we chase her, we risk everything." Sheila stared at her. "If she gets to the Foresters, it won't matter. We'll be the villains again. Always." They split up. Lee took the car. Sheila took the alleyways. Luna ran blindly. Her vision swam. Sirens echoed in the distance. She stumbled into the street and waved down a passing car. The driver, terrified at the sight of her blood-soaked hospital gown, sped off. Another car swerved. Tires screeched. A woman stepped out, recognizing Luna instantly. "Oh my God, you're Luna Nozawa. They said you were dead." Luna grabbed her arm. "Phone. Please." The woman handed it over. Luna didn't call the police. She called Hope. Hope answered on the third ring, groggy. "Hello." "Hope," Luna gasped, her voice cracked and broken. "They lied. I'm alive. Help me." The line went dead. Hope stared at the phone, paralyzed. 20 minutes later, Luna was gone again. She had run deeper into downtown, trying to avoid cameras. But Lee had her scent. She tracked her daughter figure through traffic, calling in favors, bribing an old paramedic to scan nearby security feeds. Sheila, meanwhile, was in full predator mode, whispering through shadows, finding witnesses, asking the homeless if they'd seen a girl in a hospital gown. One man pointed down an alley. Said she was going to the garment district. Luna was trying to reach Forrester. As dawn broke, she stumbled into the loading bay of the Forrester distribution warehouse. Guards saw her and rushed forward. One recognized her from posters. "Call 911, he shouted. "It's Luna. She's alive." That single cry unleashed a storm. Within an hour, paramedics arrived. So did news vans. Luna was rushed to a real hospital this time, guarded, protected, monitored. She told them everything. The false death, the sedation, the underground clinic. Sheila. Eric Forrester wept when he saw her. Hope held her for hours. Brooke called every contact she had in the DA's office. Steffi stared, speechless. RJ refused to leave her bedside. He barely slept, clutching her hand, whispering apologies. But it wasn't over. Lee was arrested within 48 hours. Brought in quietly. Her face plastered across headlines. Renowned surgeon lied about Luna Nozawa's death, faces criminal conspiracy charges. Finn confronted her in jail. Why? He whispered through the glass. Lee's eyes filled. To protect you. Finn shook his head. No. You did it to protect yourself. You buried her to keep your secret safe. You became everything you swore you hated. Sheila, however, was gone. The clinic was empty when authorities arrived. Every record erased. Every sample destroyed. Sheila had slipped through the cracks once again, a ghost returning to the void. But before she vanished, she left a letter on Luna's hospital windowsill. No one saw who placed it. The handwriting was unmistakable. You weren't supposed to wake up. But you did. That means something. Live harder than they expect you to. Survive like I did. Maybe you'll understand me one day. Maybe not. But don't waste your second chance. Luna burned the letter without reading it a second time. She stayed in the hospital for a week. Then she returned to Forrester. She didn't give interviews. She didn't speak about what happened publicly. But she changed. Her designs grew bolder. Her gaze sharper. Her voice colder. Hope offered her full creative control of a new collection. Luna accepted. But on one condition, Lee's name would never be spoken in her presence again. Behind her smile, behind the flashbulbs and sketches, Luna carried the weight of a betrayal no press release could cover. She had survived death, drugging, lies, and a chase through the underworld of medicine and madness. But she hadn't forgiven. And she never would. Because forgiveness was for people who were spared. And Luna? Luna had to fight her way out of the grave.